real focus of the day was to say thank you to the vets. We wanted to give them an experience, but we wanted them to know from the heart that we were saying thank you for your sacrifices.
One thing that this experience taught me is that I will never ever be afraid to go up to a vet and thank them, and realize that it doesn't take a lot. Very, very little effort on my part means a tremendous amount to these kids, to show your appreciation for what they've gone through.
The Wounded Warriors Project is a national nonprofit organization. They were established to support veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan, and their mission is to help severely wounded veterans return back to the U.S. and basically assimilate back into civilian life.
When you see what these guys have gone through, it's just, we realize how good we have it in this country. And we can only have these things because of what these wounded vets do, and the vets in general. And it's the simplest thing to do, is just give something back. Whether you're going to cook, say hello to them, just sit down and talk with somebody like that. They appreciate it so much.
This was a car club full of relatively wealthy people doing something with very expensive automobiles on a racetrack. The perspective what they had could be anything. We wanted to make sure that they understood we were there for them, and that the day was for them and for them alone.
The plan for the day was to bring the veterans out to the track and have a day for them where they were able to completely forget about any of the pressures of coming from combat, any of the issues that they've had to deal with since they've come back. And that's the real message that we wanted them to hear. We want our veterans to know that although we can't fully understand what they've been through, we have an idea and we appreciate their sacrifice, and we want to be able to reach out to them and thank them in a very meaningful way.
From Gastonia, North Carolina. I was in the Army from '03 to '07, and I did my tour in Ar Ramadi, Iraq, from October '06 to July '07.
My name is Robert Shaw. I'm from Rocky Hill, Connecticut. I served in the Connecticut National Guard, did a tour in Iraq in '04 as a combat medic. Did a tour in Afghanistan in '06 as an infantryman.
Well, I did 10 years in the Army. I was an Apache helicopter mechanic. I did 2 tours in Iraq, OIF 1 and OIF 2 in '03 and '04, '05. I got hit by a mortar in April of 2004.
My name is Luis Morales. I live in New London, and my tour duty was Iraq from '06, '07.
What did you do over there?
We were in a gun truck unit, and they did convoy security and escorts.
Any last words you want to say before you...
I love you, Mommy and Daddy.
Nope, let's rock and roll.
Let's roll.
Impressions at first were how fast how fast the cars can turn, and just pretty much how quick they can hold it, how hard they can hold it in a turn, how many G's without having the tires slip or anything.
Oh, it was awesome. That was great. I like that, sliding around the racetrack.
Wow.
It was better than any carnival ride, you know. She's like, it's going to be like a ride, you know, but like a lot more intense. But oh man, she couldn't tell me how fast she was going, but oh man.
And it's not every day you get to ride in a Porsche, you know. You know, I never thought, you know, I could get car sick in a car. But I loved it, you know. It's like, you know, I really like speed, but, you know, going around those turns at 80 miles an hour really gets you going.
I mean, driving on the track, we all love that, and it's great. It was great fun for the vets. But to actually sit with them at lunch and say, hey, come on over here and sit at our table, and, you know, that was one of the most rewarding parts of the whole day for me, personally. And like I said, there was probably 40 people there having lunch, and between the vets, their guests, drivers, instructors, and folks setting up lunch, the EMTs from the track who were so helpful. It was a fantastic trackside picnic table, classic grilled lunch, and it was nice.
So tell me a little about Wounded Warrior. What is this program all about?
It's, for me so far, it's been a way to get a little bit closer on the other side of the uniform. I haven't met too many people yet. This is only my second event, but just the gratitude that people show, it's kind of overwhelming at times, because normal day-to-day, you once you get out, you kind of forget about a lot of the stuff, and just coming back and seeing the camaraderie just come right back as soon as you get around other former soldiers, sailors. You just share a little bit. It's just something you have in common, and it's a really good feeling.
Awareness is probably the biggest thing people can do. Just be aware that we're out there and some of the problems we have. One thing I could definitely say is some people, when they return, they may look okay. They have injuries that people can't see, and that's like one of the hardest things about being a wounded warrior is people see you, they think you're okay, they don't understand that you don't function normally anymore. A lot of people judge you just by your looks and not about what you go through on a daily basis.
So at lunchtime, I sat down with a couple of them, had lunch with them, and one of the vets sat with me. In fact, he was one of the young fellows who I took for a ride. And I asked him about his experience in Afghanistan. And he told me some things that broke my heart. And he had what was called post-traumatic stress disorder. There was no wounds on his body. He came through without a scratch. What was messed up in him was in his head. The stress disorder is just as serious and it's just as harsh as being shot, but you can't see it. It gave me an appreciation and understanding I didn't have before, and how these kids really suffered.
I think people are afraid. I think they're either embarrass themselves or they're going to embarrass somebody else. It's the best embarrassment that you could ever do. A vet would love it if you would just come and do it. They don't ask for much. They don't ever really want to talk about their experiences. They don't really want to say much. They kind of they feel embarrassed coming back in, and we're all Americans, and they're doing all this for us. It's the least we can do is just go over and just show a little appreciation, maybe just a little pat on the back, just a little nod, a little salute, a little wink of the eye, just something like that to say thank you for what you've done for us.
To feel like, hey, I'm really appreciated, and this is great, and they truly do forget about their pressures and issues. And then you have the civilian population who we've so greatly benefited from their service, and to have that interaction going on where we as civilians can say to the vets, thank you, and see what it means. And when that translates back, when you say thank you to a veteran and you really mean it, and you extend your hand and say that and shake their hand, the feedback that you get from the veterans is so heartwarming. You know, it really tells it all. And then we end up going off and talking to our friends and family. So in the end, you have a giant network that we hope to expand, that's veterans that feel more understood and more appreciated, and Americans who take the time to stop and think of what a tremendous sacrifice it is for our combat veterans to go off and really fight for the American way of life.
So now, basically, nothing scares you.
Well, hopefully you can.
Huh?
I said hopefully you can. Please try.
Yeah. So if you have questions, well, you've been around the track already today, right?
Yes.
Okay. So